Hey everybody, it's Allison Nielsen coming to you live from Amelia Island, Florida. So excited today for my interview with Julie Drake. Julie and I met in a private Facebook group that we're both members of, and she reached out to me and told me a little bit about what she did, and I said, hey, I would love to expose my audience to you and let you share with my audience what you're doing, because the work sounds absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to quickly read from Julie's website, and all of the information will be posted here in the comments afterwards. So if you want to get in touch with Julie after this interview and you want to have a further conversation with her, then you can just go to her website and reach out to her. So she says, if you are confused about what you're supposed to be doing, stuck in a dead-end job or relationship you don't know how to get out of, you lack mental clarity or second guess yourself at every turn, you look at your vision board year after year and you see the same desires unfulfilled, self-sabotaging your progress and then beating yourself up for it later, making money but feel like you never have enough, Julie can help you discover what's keeping you stuck and how to move through it. So welcome, Julie.
Hi, great to be here.
So
Thanks
great
for having me.
You are so welcome. So I would love for you to start with just telling us your story. I know that you've been a successful entrepreneur for many, many years, but tell us your story and how the emotion code and how all of this stuff came into your life.
Yeah, I always say life is a journey. I've had successes, I've had failures, I've had successes. So I am an 18-year veteran business owner. I've been an entrepreneur long before it was the right thing, cool thing to do.
Right.
But I always felt like there was something more for me to do. And so I went and explored and I started my own company. And I've really learned so much over the years, really about working on me. And really what brought me to the emotion code was the fact that I felt exactly like that. I felt stuck. I felt like I was beating my head against a wall. I felt like I was reaching this glass ceiling that was invisible and I'd fall back down. And so I went in search for answers. And what I found was that there's this whole world out there, things inside of me that I didn't even know existed that were holding me back. And once I was able to work with a practitioner to uncover and release those barriers, then I was able to see exactly where I needed to go. I've always risen to leadership. That was never a question for me, but I just felt like there was something that was not right. And I just kept, like what you said, I had the same goal and I'd go after that goal. And 6 months later, I'm going after that. And 2 years later, I'm going.
Right,
so
right.
It was
like just, you're on that hamster.
Yeah. And, I also noticed during that time that my confidence started lagging. Things that came naturally to me were a struggle. And I'm like, what's going on? It did not feel like me anymore. And I knew that something had to change. And it was really the work that I did here that led me to that part. So, I often talk about, struggling and settling. When I first came into entrepreneurship too, I had a horrible money mindset. I was taught that if you stop your job and you work from home, just be prepared to make less. You'll have to cut coupons and budget. And, that was somewhere lodged in my head and I could not get it out. Even after I was doing a lot of mindset work, I still had money mindset issues until the work that I did on the emotion code. And then I was able to break free from that and really allow opportunities and abundance to flow freely into my life. So I'm super thankful for the introduction to this. And I really have a passion for helping other people succeed. So that's what brought me here.
Good. I can relate to that. Let's just quickly, before we continue about the emotion code, define money mindset, because I think some people might not understand what that means. And so we all have a money mindset, whether you've ever heard that term before or not. We all have a money mindset. So describe that, define money mindset a little bit.
So for me, money mindset is your relationship with money, whether the ability to earn it or want it, the ability to keep it. I had an exercise. I had somebody ask me a question. And when I went through this exercise, it was enlightening to me. And this was before the work that I did on myself. And the gentleman said to me, close your eyes and picture, give a persona of what you think of when you think of money. And I closed my eyes and I saw this awful, dark, scary, mean, like, if you've ever seen Once Upon a Time, the series, it looked like the dark one. It was
Right.
like awful. And I thought, oh my gosh, I
What's
want
that
to
about?
earn money, but if that's what I think of money, I have to be repelling it for some reason. So
Sure.
when I talk about money mindset, I think that that's a great exercise for somebody to do, to be honest with themselves
Yeah.
and say, what if I had to draw money as a person or a figure? What would that look like? Would it be a fun, happy experience, or would it be something dark and icky and evil? Because that's a really good insight on what do you think about money truly in your unconscious being.
Yeah.
What do you really, and that's what I call the money mindset. It really is your internal relationship with money. And we all have things from our past, things
Sure.
somebody might have said to us, not even realizing how that might stick.
Sure. And the family that we grew up in and how they dealt
Yeah.
with money. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, do you think money grows on trees? Do you think it's so easy? We can't afford that. Things that people say that they don't even realize. And how it affected me may not be how it affects you. And
Exactly.
that's the other tricky part.
Yeah.
Now I'm really in tune to it. So I hear it in things my daughter watches. It's like, oh, the rich people, or, oh, they make all that money. And it's like, what is that? Now I'm like, wait a minute,
Now you're
don't
tuned
believe
into it.
that. Don't buy into that. And I'll teach my children. But at the time, you don't know. You're just
You don't
listening,
know.
you're absorbing. And
Yeah. You don't know how you're being
yeah,
programmed. I know I grew up,
right.
both parents working. And,
Hmm.
dad was a mailman and mom worked at a local steel plant. So they made
Yeah.
probably what I would consider, average salaries. So we
Hmm.
had a home to live in. We had a car. We had all of the essentials, the
Yeah.
necessary things that we needed. We rarely took like big trips. I remember one
Hmm.
big trip that we took in my whole life. We took one big trip that involved a car, not a plane. We didn't ever
Yeah.
get on a plane. I didn't get on a plane with my parents. Every summer we'd rent a little cabin a few hours away for a week and hang out there. But my parents didn't know they didn't know the value of money. They didn't
Hmm.
know like what it meant to save it and to kind of be preparing for retirement. And so I felt like
Right.
I always kind of grew up with this attitude of it's just money. It's no big
Yeah.
deal. It's money, right?
Yeah. Right.
And then I married my husband who has a very different money mindset. And I remember the day I said that to him, Julie, the day I said, just money. And he looked at me and was like, don't ever say
Hmm.
that to me again.
Right.
And he has
Yeah.
helped me shift my money mindset. And I just have a different outlook on money. I
Hmm.
understand money is energy, and I have
Right.
more respect for money and what it can do and how you
Yeah.
can impact people when you have a solid money mindset.
Hmm.
So thanks for unpacking that with me a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. So talk to me just briefly. So I know you worked with a practitioner, you worked with a
Hmm.
coach, and this program is called the Emotion Code.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the specific healing method that I use. Yep.
Okay. And how long was the program? Was it like a 6-week program, 6-month program?
I actually did 5 sessions with my practitioner to start, and then I would go in for kind of maintenance or as
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
But emotion code is interesting because there's a key component to it, and it's something that differentiates itself, and that is what's called a heart wall. And it really is a great thing that the body does, but it can really work against you. And it what happens is it's that heart center is it's preventing you from heartache. At
Yeah.
some point during a person's life, they
Mhm.
have that first heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
And what the body does is it goes to work in that protection. That's what our body is built for. It those triggers, those things that, we don't like sometimes
Yeah.
are really designed to protect us, from the big bad scary world. Well, we're not in that same big bad scary world that
Right.
we were when our bodies were first created, like the lion that's going to attack us, or
Right.
whatever.
Sure.
We don't have to forage for our food, most of us.
Yeah.
So what happens though is our body, our unconscious mind starts building what's called a heart wall. And I've seen all different materials. It's so fun to dig in and get to know what somebody's heart wall is. I've had glitter, I've had cotton, I've had cotton candy, I've had
Wow.
stone, brick, all different. One of them was clear plastic, because they want to be transparent, but they're
Right.
not.
Right.
And what happens is it usually takes 3 to 4 sessions alone to break through the heart wall itself.
Right.
Some people have very deep heart walls. They've been through a lot of trauma.
Mhm.
And, having a heart wall really means that you are blocking the ability to give and receive love properly, to experience joy fully.
Mhm.
Um, in business, it can manifest as you just don't see opportunities
Wow.
because you're afraid.
Yeah.
That's that barrier,
Yeah.
right? That
That
we,
protective mechanism.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's something that, in 3 sessions for me, I was able to get rid of my heart wall totally. And then we worked on other trapped emotions. And I continue to do work on myself now because I've learned
Sure.
the process. But yeah, usually it's really 4 to 6 sessions to get that first breakthrough. And
Mhm.
then we go from there.
Okay, that sounds amazing. So, just tell me like a couple of experiences you've had working with clients. What are they? What are you, do you see a common theme, or I'm sure it's different for each person that you're working with? And just tell me like how you've been able to help people figure out what emotion might be holding them back, and
Mhm.
how they can break through, and then what they're able to do after that.
Certainly. One woman that comes to mind, she was really struggling. She's an author. She wanted to write a sequel to a book that her father had written, the first book.
Wow.
And, we talk about going around that same goal over and over again. And she'd stop and start and stop and start. And she really knew in her heart that this was something she needed to do.
Mhm.
And she just could not find the willpower, the whatever. She'd sit down and write. So we talk about doing the right things and
Yeah.
it's not working. She was doing physically and consistently the work, it just wasn't resulting in anything. So after our work together, she was able to sit down and finally write. And she felt like that was just, it was such a relief to be able to honor her dad that way, to really get those words on the page
Yeah.
and, finish that sequel and do that. And it was a huge accomplishment for her. So that's one that resonates with me. I will always remember that. Another thing was a business owner, very successful, somebody that you would not think about having confidence issues or
Mm.
doubt. I'm
Mhm.
running a multi-million-dollar company,
Right.
very successful, high rankings, accreditations. And, during our work together, we discovered a pretty deep heart wall
Mhm.
and a lot of trapped emotions from her childhood that were really wreaking havoc. And, when you think about leveling up, or, you want to go to that next
Right.
level, and maybe she had the tools to do the first level of what she wanted to accomplish, but there was that barrier there. She wasn't going to break through it on her own. And
Right.
so after our work together, she just had clarity, she had focus, she had confidence again, and she was able to go out and do what she needed to do. And, I'm referencing several business examples, but,
Mhm.
another one is a man that I worked with that was severely bullied as a kid.
Mm.
And he had pain all over. I mean, severe back pain. It was preventing him from doing his job,
Wow. So it
playing
was
with his kids.
manifesting physically. Okay. Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't know how the body is going to take a trapped emotion.
Sure.
And I really quick want to say a trapped emotion is just something emotionally that for whatever reason we did not process properly. A lot of emotions we just we do it,
Right.
we experience them, and we're good. But other ones, the energy gets trapped, and that's when this vicious cycle starts in our body or our mind.
Yeah.
And so he was in a bad spot. I mean, he was going to the chiropractor. He couldn't figure out what was going on. And after our work together, he emailed me and he said, "Oh my gosh, I feel better than I have in years. I'm able to play with my kids." He said, and it opened up my eyes to what those emotions were from my past that I was suppressing. I wasn't dealing with them. And it allowed him to be able to look at them differently and kind of diffuse the energy around them. They didn't have the power over him that they did before.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, that you work in one way, but it really has a compounding effect, positive.
Wow. That sounds really amazing and so rewarding for you.
Yes.
When you see the person being able to make that breakthrough and
I
then
love it.
move past what's been holding them back to go on to accomplish the things they want to accomplish. That's really remarkable.
Yes,
really
absolutely.
So what's it like to work with you? What's the process?
So I start with a consultation. It's completely free. And the reason for the consultation is really so that the person and I can talk. What does that rut that they're in look like? What is their pain point? And what have they tried already? You know, what are the things that they're doing now? And then we talk about my work together. I work only virtually, which at this point is good because of the state of our world. But you know, and I talk through that process. What is that like to work virtually? We can do it in, you know, video like we're doing right now, or we can do it just over the phone. Right. And then what we do is we come to an agreement. Yes, this is the next best step. It gives that person a chance to ask me questions. And then once we decide, I have different packages starting at, you know, that kickstart, you know, I just want to accomplish one thing, to I want to go after everything, 6 sessions, or I also want emotional release and business coaching. And the reason why I offer the business coaching to Allison is because, you know, somebody is going in that direction and they're stopped. They're just in that rut. They have no idea how to get out. It's like they stop knowing what to do next. So after that clearing, then we go through, what are those processes? What are those things that can be done, those success tools that are now going to work for them? And we put measures in place, time management or sales processes or different things that fit that person's need, or just in a relationship, maybe. They're working on a personal goal, you know, set milestones and set realistic. I really like to focus on that action goal rather than, I mean, we need result goals as well, but I think some people get so focused on any kind of a result that they don't focus on celebrating what they're doing to get there, and they lose sight of that along the way. So we work through all of that during our sessions together. And a session with me can be, it's not a time, because your body knows exactly how many trapped emotions it can release at one time. And when the body says done, it's done. Usually it's 20 to 30 minutes. That's an average. And we release about, I've released up to 18 emotions in one session before, and that's a lot. The average is about 10 or 11. One of the things I loved, and what I find other people like too, different from therapy, is we don't have to talk about anything. We don't have to relive anything. And I'm not a go back and trudge it up person. And I know that a lot of people aren't like that or don't want to share. You know, I have some people say, that's interesting. You know, they'll remember something and, you know, I'll say, let me know if you need a minute. You know, there's times when it brings up really harsh emotions and they need a minute to just release. And I encourage people, mute me and cry for a minute. Go for it. But you don't have to share anything with me. And like the work is still as beneficial without sharing. And that's what some people have been led down a path, that you have to, you know, go through everything and relive and get rid. You don't. You don't. It's amazing. And I loved that about our work that we did and what I can do with other people.
Amazing. That's absolutely amazing. I love that you're doing this work and that you just felt called to do it. And because out of your own need,
Yeah.
you know, and when you got the benefit from it, you knew that you were called to share that with others.
Yes, I absolutely did.
Absolutely amazing. Before we end, is there anything else that you'd like to share with my audience? Is there maybe one thing that they could do today to feel better? Is there anything that you could suggest? Any kind of exercise that they could do? Or
One of the things that I like to do is get everything out. Really start to listen to what's going on. It
yeah,
is so easy to ignore those nudges and
right.
those thoughts because we're afraid to face them.
Mhm.
However, we don't have to, if it's something that involves somebody else, we don't have to share with them. We just
Right.
have to get it out of our own brain.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a series right now on my Facebook page, which is my profile, and that is how to forgive without confronting the other person and how empowering that is.
Yeah.
And, I think that's the first step in healing anything. And when I say I was doing all the right things, I forgave and forgave and forgave everybody. And I'm like, what else do I have to forgive? But, it was that trapped energy inside me that had to be released next. But a starting point, I really do think, is forgiveness.
Right.
And it's really dumping on paper, burning it, shredding it, whatever, but get it all out.
Going through that
Get those.
process. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Just get it out. Whatever bitterness or icky emotions are coming up for you, if they don't have an exact placement with a specific person, maybe it's an event or
Mhm.
even ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forgiving
Sometimes
ourselves
forgive if
is
it's
so
ourselves.
important.
Right.
Yes, so
And
important.
I like to remind people when you talk about the act of forgiving, because, some people have really been wronged and harmed
Mhm.
and mistreated. And I like to tell
Absolutely.
people, just because you're forgiving that person, you're not saying that what they did was okay.
Mhm.
You're forgiving them to let it to
Right.
heal you. Right. So
Yeah, it's about you. It's about healing you. And, some people say, but you have no idea what they did. Yeah, I've been wronged. I've been a very traumatic event from when I was 5. I don't talk about very often.
mhm,
But I was hurt. I
mhm,
was hurt. And, but I chose to forgive because
yeah.
I'll never see that person again in my life.
Right.
But I had to forgive for me. I had
Sure.
to totally release for me.
Yeah.
And if somebody is in a situation, Allison, where, safety is a factor, they don't have to open that door to that person ever again.
Right.
Physically, they don't have to let that person back in their lives. They just have to release them
Yeah.
and let them go live their own life and release the tie they have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that is a key factor.
Right.
Um, in starting a healing process of any kind
Yeah.
is just doing that and really start to recognize those thoughts in your own head because
Mhm.
they're there, guaranteed. They're
100%.
there.
Sometimes we get good at turning them off
Yeah.
because we probably know on
Hmm.
a soul level that we need to deal with
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
we turn down the volume because we're
Hmm.
not ready to or we're
Right.
afraid to. Yeah.
And sometimes people have a hard time recognizing those on their own. And that's part of what I do with people too, is identify those mantras in their head. We can kind of get to that. And I ask people to, tell me what comes up for them.
Yeah.
And we can get rid of it and we can put something else in its place
Yeah.
because,
We'll reprogram.
yeah, you don't want to leave anything a vacuum. So once you get the negative out, you want to put the good in.
Sure.
And so anything that's been going around and around in your head, you want to replace with something good. So
Yeah.
we work on all of that together.
Nice. Sounds like you're doing amazing work. So
Thank you.
just to remind everybody, I'm going to be putting Julie's information in the comment box. So if you want to have a further conversation, remember she does do that free consultation to see if you guys are a good fit to work with one another. So if you want to do that, the information will be there so you can reach out to her. And then is your Facebook profile open to the public?
Yes. And there's a link through my website to my Facebook profile as
Okay,
well.
great. So they can
Yeah.
connect with you and see
Yeah.
what you're up to on Facebook.
Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Julie, you hang out here with me. I'm going to end
Okay.
this live, but you and I we'll just hang out. So thanks everybody for watching. Until next time, I hope you're feeling happy, healthy, and well. Take care and God bless.
Thank you.